Welcome to Epic Begins with One Step Forward, the podcast that reveals how to plan, achieve, and enjoy the journey of creating epic results in your life, business, health, and relationships. Here's your host, best-selling author and motivational speaker, Xander Sprague.
Hello, Epic people, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Epic Begins with One Step Forward. I'm your host, Xander Sprague, and today I am honored to be joined by Troy Horne. Troy, tell us who you are and what you do.
Oh, yeah. Well, first and foremost, I'm a dad, husband, a musician, all kinds of things, author. Yes, those are the main ones that I like to talk about. The rest are just all
Sure.
Life. Yeah.
We all do many things, and we're not just one thing. So,
yes.
Absolutely. So, you've had a pretty interesting musical career. Is that safe to say?
Yes. It just kind of started from just really wanting to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Just saying, hey, I'm going to figure this out no matter what. That's kind of how I guess things go, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if we get to do things that we find passion in, it seems just a little easier. It's not that it's easy, but it just seems easier.
It feels a little easier. Like you said, it's not easy, but it feels easier. Definitely. We love it. Yeah.
And tell us a little about your epic journey as a musician and, kind of where you started, things that you've done.
Yeah. So it started, a long time ago as a kid. But I think the part where it got interesting after going through high school and college and all that stuff was driving to Los Angeles at 20 years old with my 1985 Nissan Sentra, which was fun, and $1,500 in my pocket because that's all the money I'd saved up for my summer job, looking to be in the music industry. And I didn't have any songwriting skills. I'd never written a song before, never played instruments successfully or, really even studied them outside of the mandatory stuff that we needed for college. So it was definitely, even in talking about it with you, Xander, it's it just shows what you can do when you just make a decision. I mean, who would think that a kid who didn't know anybody in LA, who never written a song, had never put a band together, had $1,500 to his name, would go out there and, end up getting a record deal, end up being in film and television, end up starring on Broadway. When I first got there, a friend of mine that I met at one of the jobs was Octavia Spencer, who ended up being an Oscar winner. It's when you make a decision, it's that's the biggest. I'm kind of getting excited about talking about this, but it's that's the biggest part of this whole thing, just deciding this is what I'm going to do.
Absolutely. Any of our epic journeys, really, that first step is deciding that I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, and I think this stops lots of people. I don't know all the steps I need to take. And I laugh at that because I talk to people every day about this. And I'm like, look, let me make it really simple for you. When you got up this morning, you didn't know all the answers to all the questions, and yet you still got up. So I'm not sure why you get up every morning knowing that I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And somehow some dream you have, you're like, I don't know how to do all of this. Well,
none of us do. That's the thing.
Yeah.
None of us know how to do it.
Yeah. So, well, that's really cool. So you got a record deal.
Yes. So I signed with a small company called Freedom Zone.
Okay.
It's funny because during the whole time we were playing these big rooms in LA. We were playing this place called the Viper Room, this place called the Troubadour.
Oh, sure.
All these things. Yeah. And we were packing these places out. What's his name? John Sally was starting a record company. And he came to see us. And then he was talking. I saw him actually a couple years ago. And he said, Madonna and I talked about your band all the time because we loved, what you guys were doing. Why didn't y'all sign us then? And he's back at the time, we just didn't understand distribution and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Okay, well, whatever. All this to say, it's I kept going and I kept saying this is going to happen no matter what. And I ended up getting signed with this amazing label called Freedom Zone out of Salt Lake City. We toured the world opening for Steve Miller and Government Mule. Ended up being in Forbes magazine. It was I could, and the deal was better than probably any beginning deal I would have gotten with any major record label.
Sure.
So yeah, it was like, what they say. What they say. Man's rejection is God's protection, as they say.
Yeah. Like any good dreamer, I'm like, oh man, because I love being on stage. I love being in front of a crowd. Yes. I've got to imagine that if you're open up for Steve Miller and Government Mule, like you get up there and there's a few thousand, if not tens of thousands of people there. Yeah. That's got to be a rush.
It was weird. It was, I mean, weird, like in a cool way, but also weird, kind of like, oh man, in that moment, you're like, am I prepared for this? Like, yeah, I asked for it and now it's here and we did whatever. It's like, am I ready for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was really cool, as we were doing it. So
definitely. And look, congratulations on that success. It's,
thank you. You guys could really play. I mean, like we were good, but those guys, I mean,
well, there's good, and then there's good level. With a small G, and there's good with a absolutely.
Yeah, like the musicianship was like, you got to be kidding me. And they're playing it. And the funny thing is, and are you a musician as well? Like, so it's like,
well, I dabble in the guitar. I wouldn't say I can sort of hack my way. Look, if I practiced a little, I'd probably be better, but that's fine.
Yeah. So like they're playing these amazing licks and they're not like looking at the fingerboard. They're not like, concentrating. They're just like playing these licks, like looking around like they're at a park. And I'm like, yeah, this is wild.
Absolutely. But, Troy, it's my experience that kind of, I read the book years ago, The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. Love that book. Think it's great. The whole idea that we get good at something because we struggle to learn, and then you build the neural pathways and it comes easier. And I'm like, that is so true, because think of things that when you first learned to drive, it was exhausting because you're looking at every sign, you're paying attention to everything, right?
Right, yeah.
Now you get in the car and look, I'll admit there are times where I'm driving someplace I know, and all of a sudden I'm like, how did I get here, right? Yeah. Not that you weren't conscious, but like you know everything you know about driving, right. So, and that's so true. And with music, if you play musical instrument, if there's a song you played all the time, no, you don't have to look down. You just sort of, your hands know where to go.
Definitely. And they definitely did. It was just like, so that was fun seeing. Like,
well, also Steve Miller Band, let's face it, they haven't come out with a new album in like a very long time. It's awesome. Right. Look, I went to a Steve Miller Band concert, back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And it was honestly one of the better concerts I've ever been to. Why? Because they hadn't come out with a new album that I hadn't heard. Yeah. So I didn't sit through half a concert of their new songs, which I didn't know and couldn't appreciate. I'm like, well, that's a good song, but I don't know it.
Right.
You go to a concert because you want to hear the music, you know.
You want to hear Some People Call Me a Space Cowboy?
Absolutely.
Yes. Like, can we start with that?
Yeah. Exactly. And so I love that concert because like they played everything I knew and loved. And so following up on that, they've gotten to play the same songs and they don't have new ones to learn. Like, no, we got this.
No, definitely. So yeah, but it was definitely cool.
That's good. Now, another thing I know, and I did enjoy this, and I want to definitely talk to you. You were on the Sing Off.
Yes.
Which is, if people don't know what that was or remember what it was an acapella singing competition. So tell us about how you got on the Sing Off, what it was like to actually be on the Sing Off, and who were you, what season were you, who are you up against? How long did you make it? Yeah,
so the Sing Off, I have to give him his flowers. The Sing Off was something that kind of came about by a friend of mine. I was in a group called the House Jacks, and Deke Sharon started that group, and so I was singing with him. And Deke was doing the casting for the Sing Off, and this group called Urban Method needed a bass, because their bass just stopped. And he's like, hey, we need one. The show airs in about a month. You come down. I mean, they're in Denver. It's like, so might as well, hop on TV and connect with them. So we did, went to the sing off, and we were in the season with Afro Blue and Pentatonics. I think that's season 2 or 3 or something. Yeah.
Pentatonics. So, yeah. Good luck against them, Troy.
Yeah, it was really cool. So we were with them, and we got down to the final 3, I believe, or something like that.
Oh, good for you.
And then it was like them and Dartmouth and us. So that's
Was it fun?
It was fun. It was very educational, like, about about the industry. It's like there are a lot of things that, you learn about the industry while you're in the industry. And that was another situation where it was like very much like, you get to see behind the scenes. You get to see what the wizard is doing behind the curtain. So it was very.
Do you want to share any of that, or is that a trade secret?
There's so much, and let's see what is shareable,
Okay, how about this? So obviously, I understand that when the show comes, it looks like people come out one after another. Yes. But I also know how TV production works. And it could have been that there's an hour in between when Pentatonics went on and when you came on.
There was. I mean, no could have been. Yes. No, definitely. Like the tapings were like 4 or 5 hours long. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you, I love that show. I thought it was sad that it went away, because I thought it was really great to highlight, vocal, true acapella and like the vocal percussion, and how just a group of people create sounds and stuff. And I love Pentatonics. One of my favorite was Home Free.
Yes. I used to sing with Home Free before they went to sing off. Actually, it's funny because the year we did it, Chris Rupp, who is no longer in the group, but who founded the group, called me and he said, so tell me about this show. And, I gave him some of the behind the curtain information. And so it was a very cool deal.
And although I know Humphrey, I don't know their bass is
yes.
That guy's insane. You talk about a bass.
Yes, no, he's great. He was very great.
Very deep voice. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And the range,
Yes.
So, well, that's cool. You also were on Broadway.
Yeah, so I also played Tom Collins in the show Rent on Broadway for about a year or so. And that was all these things. It's just funny that when you look back at them and you go, man, it's like life has been quite an interesting little journey, It's like
definitely.
Yeah. So that was amazing in the fact that, you really get to learn how to connect with people more than anything else 8 shows a week. You also learn that you can do it. And you also learn that, no matter what level you go, everyone is just a person trying to do their best. So
yeah,
that was very good.
Definitely. No, absolutely. And I've got to imagine that although it's really cool to be on a Broadway show, 8 shows a week can get a little tiring.
It's kind of like what you're talking about. What's funny is like you just talked about a few minutes ago. I, would wake up, as you could say, in the show in a different position on stage, and I'd be thinking, just like with you driving, I have no idea how I got here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Absolutely. Well, that's cool. So you're also an author.
Yes.
I'm an author too, which is cool.
Hey.
I love to talk about that whole. So what is your book? What's it about?
So I wrote a book called Mental Toughness for Young Athletes, and I wrote that one with my son about 5 years ago. And I wrote it with him because I wanted to help him with his mindset and stuff like that, because he was struggling with that during like the very beginning when he was in 5th and 6th grade. It's like, youth sports becomes a thing where, it just becomes very challenging once you move to the competitive level.
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't find any books that were very child or children oriented or youth oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, let's write one. And I wrote it for him so that he could, read it and really get the principles.
Mm-hmm.
And ended up selling like 200,000 or so copies of the book because it helped a lot of other people out there in the world, which has been really cool.
Absolutely.
And
congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah. And so now I'm writing a book called Middle Management, which will be coming out here in a little bit, because that's about when the child and the children start getting to high school and they go do their own things, and you realize, hey, there's life left, and what I'm going to do with the second half, because there's still a second half left. So
absolutely,
discovery.
Absolutely, yeah. I've got multiple thoughts. One, about I have two daughters, and I'll get back to the second thing, the thing you just said, but to jump back to the first one about the mental toughness and youth sports, and one of the things that I look at and go, wow, it's kind of sad, is that when I was growing up, I played soccer, hockey, and lacrosse. Like, I played three sports. I was never really good, but I played and I enjoyed it. And I wasn't horrible, but certainly wasn't a star. But nowadays I see kids they just do one thing and they do it year round. And I get that you have to practice to be good, but it makes me sad because I'm like, they burn out. They're 16 and they're like, I don't want to play any more football, tennis, soccer, whatever sport, baseball, right? They're like, I'm just done. It's not fun anymore. And for me, part of the fun was, well, I'm going to play soccer, but when that's over, I get to go play hockey, right? Yeah. And some of that mental toughness, I think, comes from like the variety, right? Life has variety. We don't do just one thing. You and I are perfect examples. We have not done just one thing in our life. Oh, I'm just a musician. No, you're doing so much more. So I think that's a really important message of like that. How are we talk about mental toughness, but what is that, right?
Yes.
As a parent, we tell our kids to do things, like, oh, you need to do this. But then I was trying to catch myself, especially when my daughters were young, which is, have I explained to them what it is that I'm asking them to do? You know what I mean? Because so often we know what it means, but they may not know what concentrate looks like, or
right.
Be consistent, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, it was really great to kind of write that with them to kind of help kids understand that stuff. So definitely. And then you were mentioning, like, as your kids get older, all of a sudden this thing that's been your primary focus, raising your kids, transitions greatly. And I had my girlfriend pointed this out, which I thought was great. She's like, as a parent, you put all your blood, sweat, and tears into raising this person you're raising them to leave you. And when they go off to college or whatever, it is so like you're so happy for them, but so devastated yourself, because you're like, I did my job. But that's true of, like, honestly, that's true of like all of nature, right? Yeah. Parent bird raises the bird for it to leave the nest, right? Yeah. But knowing that's one thing, experiencing it's a completely different thing, isn't it, Troy? Yeah. But you know what's funny? It's like in that journey of discovery of what to do in the second half, you realize that even those moments were preparing you for your next thing. Whatever that ends up being. For me, in writing that book with him and pouring all into that with him, it's like, this is something that, can be a thing. And I like building the community, and I like, understanding how to, format the book or do the cover or, reach the audience, via YouTube or social media marketing or whatever. It's like, oh, this is something that I really enjoy doing, which I would never have found had it not been for me trying to, pour into him and help him on his journey. So
absolutely. And I've been fortunate to write 3 books so far. Yes. But the writing, there's so much that you learn. And I've said it on the podcast before. And so for those who are listening, yes, I'm going to say it again. Sometimes I repeat myself because it's worth repeating, which is, although the writing was challenging, the editing of the book is even harder. You know what I'm talking about. And I don't know about you, but by the time my book actually came out, I didn't want to open that book for like a month or two, because I had just spent the last 6 weeks, I had read my book cover to cover 6 times, looking for, the proofreaders, and then you're going through and you're trying to find all the mistakes.
Yes.
And I said that when my first book came out, I'm like, they're like, oh my God, my friends are like, oh, Xander, that's great. What's your favorite part of the book? I'm like, right now, I love what I wrote,
right,
but I've had too much.
Right. I've read it like 6 or 7 times. And
even then, inevitably you find something and you're like, how did I and my team miss it?
Yes.
Well, part of the problem is when you read the same chapter, the same sentences, same paragraph 50 times.
Yes.
You know what it's going to say.
Yes.
So you forget, your eye jumps over the fact that you forgot a the or an a or an and or.
Absolutely. I love it.
You're laughing because you know.
Yes, I absolutely know exactly what you're talking about. And you're like, what gets me, and let me know if this has been your experience, finding editors that will allow your voice to stay in your own work. Has that been a challenge for you?
Luckily not, but I do absolutely get where in my first book, my editor, was trying to help make it more readable, and I get it. Right. But there were suggestions that she made where I'm like, no, I get readability wise, but that changes
the voice.
That changes the voice. That changes the intent.
Yes.
And I have thought about the words that I want to use. Now, I joke all the time that I'm a talker, not a typer. And the fact that I've written books is amazing because I don't like writing. But I found my way using dictation and my last book, Epic Begins. I wrote it with my business coach, and we just kind of did YouTube like interviews. We had a question, we talk about it for 45 minutes. I get a transcript, and then I work with my editor to take it from what would look like a movie script. I'm like, no one wants to read, 12 chapters of a conversation. And she helped me do it. But also, as an editor, you start to work with an editor. They start to hear your voice. You start to push back and go, no, that is how I want to say it.
Right.
And but the writing of a book, and then the book comes out, and then you're like, oh, now what do? You learn all about book marketing and ebook marketing and promotions and applying for awards and stuff like that. And, for the audience, the way you get any kind of an award, be it an Oscar, a Grammy, and a book award, someone applies for you. Someone puts your material up there for consideration. It's not, people don't get a Grammy because, the Academy of Recording Artists goes, oh my gosh, Troy, we love your stuff. We're putting you up for a Grammy. No, your record label's like, consider this one for Best New Artist, right? That's how that happens. And even if you're Taylor Swift, someone's on her team is going, hey, by the way, would you consider that album?
Yes.
And they're like, yes, we already know about it. But that's how all of this happens, folks. Yeah. You got to ask, hey, would you consider me for an award?
Yeah.
Funny things happen. You get what you ask for.
Oh my gosh, right? Definitely you get what you ask for. The thing is, we're learning even at the later age to continue to ask, because I think we are really brave in asking for other people, during that kid parent part. We can ask for our kids, like, no problem.
Absolutely.
No fear, no, like, what do you need? Let me go get it. But then when that's back to you, it's like, oh yeah, I've got to remember to ask for myself.
Absolutely. And I grew up in Massachusetts, and when I was growing up, my dad was a state legislator. So I grew up knowing some political figures in Boston, and my dad served with in the state house in the legislature with Tommy O'Neill, whose dad was Tip O'Neill, who was the Speaker of the House for like 35 years in Congress, right?
I heard of that guy.
And well, younger people don't, but you and I are old enough that we're like, I know who that is. But anyway, my dad was, Tip was in the office and he was telling this story, but I like this story because it really says exactly my point here, which is, Tip said this woman came up to him and said, I didn't vote for you in the last election. And he goes, well, why not? She said, you didn't ask. Yeah. Such a great demonstration of you get what you ask for. Look, funny thing in life, we can ask for something. If we don't get it, we're not any worse off than where we were before we asked.
Right. Yeah.
But oftentimes we do get what we need. And when we state our dreams out loud and say, I want to go to LA and be a recording artist.
Yeah.
I want to write a book.
Yeah.
I want to start a podcast.
Yeah.
I want to start a TV show. Those happen because you put it out there, and then someone goes, hey, Troy, how's that book coming along?
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And last thing I want to ask you here, because I love this question. In my book, I talk about not yet. This concept of there are things that we want to do, but it's not yet, right? Mm. So as we were talking about the book, okay, you had an idea when you wanted the book to come out. But hey, Troy, it's about your new book. Is your new book out? Not yet. Doesn't mean it's not coming out, just means not today. It's not getting published today.
Yeah.
With that in mind, what's one or two of your not yets in your life?
Oh, wow. One of the big not yets for me is there's so many. Wow.
You could give me more than 2 or 3. I'm just trying to make it easy versus.
Okay. So one is I want to be number 1 on Amazon.
Okay.
Like a Mel Robbins number 1, not like a categorically number 1, but like number one, like, in the main bookstore of all the books. And so that's something that I would like to do. Number 2, not yet, is I want to go visit, there are a lot of them. I want to go visit Ghana and Kenya just to be in that space. So that's a not yet for me. And then, let's see. Those are the 2 big not yets. I guess there really weren't that many that I thought there were, but those are the 2 big not yets that.
All right. Well, that's cool. I mean, I would encourage you. The first one, definitely very challenging. I too would like that. Yeah. Hard to say how to make that happen other than people got to know who you are and that you have a book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The second one, dude, one step forward, just say here's the pin in the calendar when I'm going, and then it makes it easier when you are like, right here, Troy has to meet this Troy here to get over to go to Kenya and Ghana.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. What an epic conversation, my friend.
That was fun, man. That was so much fun.
So much fun. How can people find you, get a hold of you?
Great. So there are a couple of ways, and I'll just give you 2 of the main ones. First, you can go to middlemanagement.bio. There's a free download that goes with the book, and so if you want to help me, I keep saying us, me reach number 1 on Amazon. There's a free download in there that kind of can get you started. And then I'm on TroyHorne.com, which is just my website, and those are the 2 places, and that's Troy TroyHorne.com, and then middlemanagement.bio are the 2 places to find me.
Awesome. Well, Troy, I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
And I want to remind everyone that if you're ready to begin your epic journey, go to epicbegins.com. And as always, remember, epic choices lead to the epic life that you want.
Get your gift copy of the award-winning book, Epic Begins with One Step Forward, at epicbegins.com. That's a wrap on this episode of Epic Begins with One Step Forward with your host, Xander Sprague, best-selling author, internationally acclaimed public speaker, and licensed professional clinical counselor. To make your next conference or event epic, send an email to Xander at ZANDER@epicbegins.com. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Remember, epic choices, epic life.